aliens and they're living in your town. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Weird and Whatever podcast. How the hell are you guys doing?
Doing well. I like the ambiance in here today.
It's sexy in here tonight.
Feels like a seance to me.
It feels like we're on a date is what it feels like.
Well, I moved all the lights around. I think this is better. That way we can keep it kind of like dark in here, but still have some lighting on our faces.
Mr. Beckett, how are you doing?
Good. I don't want to go any more group dates, though. I get a little PTSD when you say group dates.
Why is that? Oh, because of The Bachelor. I hear you, man. Is it me that's peeking, Denny's, or is it... Yeah, it's me. All right, let me turn myself down. Vicky, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I had a couple of rough days, but I'm back.
Do you want to talk about it? You want to get into it?
Just personal stuff. I went to like the lowest low part and thought that somebody was out of my life for good, and then like I don't know because I put it out there in the universe or whatever, and now that person's actually back in my life better than ever.
Huh.
So I literally hit rock bottom and then climbing back up.
I want to pry more, but I won't. I have questions. Is it a love affair?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Look at this, Denny's. Do you have any sexy music over there? This is good stuff. Don't worry about it, Denny's.
I'm looking.
And Denny's, how are you doing, man?
Not doing bad.
So I want to start off the podcast. We talked last time about pilots and what they see, and if anybody has ever seen anything that is a pilot out there. We've got an email from Jeff from Deerfield, and it is a fake name, he says. It goes, Jaybird, I am a pilot. UFOs and aliens are most certainly real. I was a military and commercial pilot for over 30 years. I can tell you that I have seen stuff nobody can explain, not even the military. We are not alone in the universe. I once had a legit flying saucer fly right in front of my plane. This thing hovered over us for about 4 minutes. All of the instruments started to shut off. A big light came over from the UFO and flashed our plane. Then it darted off into the sky like it was a rocket leaving a bizarre trail. I was told not to make a big deal out of it. I brought it up once and never heard about it again. I'm 62 years old and don't know how much more time I have on this planet. I want you all to know, and everybody in the Weird and Whatever podcast audience, we are not alone. Sincerely, Jeff from Deerfield. P.S. Yes, that is a fake name. Pretty interesting stuff. Comments on Jeff from Deerfield.
I would imagine.
I want to know exactly what he saw.
We said a flying saucer. Flying saucer.
A saucer, huh?
He saw a flying saucer. Yeah, well, I mean, they just a new report came out today. Someone has another tell-all book in the military talking about all these UFOs they've never, ever, they can't explain. Nobody can explain it.
There's been like a recent influx, I guess, over like the last 10 years of military officials that have credible titles and names, and they're coming forth about things they've seen in the military that was kept top secret for many years. I mean, so I think that could be definitely something you would see. And at your time there, whatever rank you are, you're not going to bring that up to an official if they say it's been dealt with.
Yeah, according to this new article that I was reading, they're talking about how aliens, if they do come down to Earth, they're going to also do a cyber attack where they're going to attack our phones, they're going to attack our computers, and they're going to shut us down.
Basically Russia.
What's that?
They're basically Russia.
I can't. Beckett's. Give me a hum, Beckett.
Hum, hum, hum.
There we go. There's that pretty voice.
So they recently reset our boards here at work for everybody wondering. So the Vox Pro is reading hotter than usual because it's now at full line signal instead of just partial.
Does that make my laugh less annoying?
No, it makes it 30 times louder. So I'm just trying to not blow everybody's eardrums out.
Let the hate mail
Well,
come.
so the live audience will get the flubs. We'll edit all this out when we release it again tomorrow. That's the beauty of it, baby.
That's awesome. I said they're basically like Russia. UFOs, aliens, basically like Russia.
Oh, elaborate on that.
I'm just saying they're like just hacking us. They're hacking us. They're messing with our computers. Maybe they're causing discord in the human race. I just don't understand if they had the technology to be here and to be that much more advanced than us in so many ways. What's the downside of them just letting us know they exist.
Maybe they have. Maybe, I mean, I think some people would argue, yeah, we've seen aliens, we've been abducted. Some people totally say they've had moments, they've had encounters. Vicky?
Well, if they're that smart, that intelligent, that more advanced, why would they waste their time trying to convince us? That would be like me trying to convince the hamster that I'm an important person. What's the point?
Resources, maybe? Maybe there's something here on Earth that we have that they want.
But if they were that advanced, they could just take it already.
Not necessarily. Maybe they don't want to, go into some kind of warfare. Maybe they know we would hit them with nukes 'cause if it was an all-out war. And maybe they do know something about nukes. Maybe that could completely ruin the atmosphere. I don't know.
I just kind of get the impression they probably think we're just stupid.
Well, I know I do.
wonder
Me
if there's,
too.
like-
We're all in agreement there.
A
No,
galactic code or something where they don't mess with inferior planets to theirs.
So, if aliens do exist, are they peaceful or are they mean? Since we've started this podcast, I want to see if anyone's opinion has changed.
Well, if aliens exist, I would imagine there's a ton of different kinds of aliens. So I would say some would be peaceful. It would be all just like if we were to actually get into space and travel, we would be an alien to whatever planet we go to. So there could be things there, and they're like, "What the heck's this guy?"
And I don't know if they're necessarily just green or gray little dudes running around. I think there could be all types of stuff,
Right.
much like a Star Wars.
Plus, think about how long UFO sightings have been going on over the course. So maybe one time we got visited by gray aliens, and the guy remembers that, and then that became maybe they were seen for 3 years during like the 60s or something, and then never came back ever. So we only had the evidence of them from that time frame, and then there's other ones that come, go. Could be any of the above.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that the human race has treated anything that is less intelligent than us on our own planet like crap,
Like garbs.
like garbage. And even to this day, in some parts of the world, the opposite gender and different races. So, not to say it's karma, but if they come and they're so much more advanced than us, then we're just like apes to them, basically.
Yeah,
If you
they think we
if you-
suck.
Yeah, if you think about it, I mean, can't be that mad at them.
That's probably why they just abduct people to do. They're like, here, go stop by this place and just grab some peeps.
Yeah.
Is that their version of cow tipping? It's just a bunch of drunk alien
They're like
teenagers.
hammered.
Hey y'all, let's go down to Earth and let's go screw with the stupid humans. Are we the cows of the universe?
How
We got all the
funny would that
hillbill-
be?
We got the hillbilly aliens.
Nothing
That's
against
what it is.
cows, because I should probably. I mean, cows are.
They're hard to
sacred.
tip, man.
Yes, they are. I wouldn't know actually. I would be. I would be so afraid. I'm such a wimp. I'd be afraid to approach a cow. I'd be afraid to
You're
attack.
afraid to
it.
approach a cow, but you want to go to the devil tree?
It's weird. It's different because I feel like if the devil tree, if something happens at the devil tree, it's so next level where the
payoff's so much more
payoff
worth
is
it.
so much better than a cow just tipping me over.
You wait till they fall asleep and then you sneak up on them and you push them.
Yeah, and that's kind of like a dicky thing to do too. So.
It's totally dicky looking
Yeah.
back, but like when you're young and kids, you don't think.
No.
I,
You
dude,
guys
they're-
go through a phase in when you guys were kids where you would pants someone?
oh, dude, still to this day.
Yeah. What a great move. I think we're going to bring that back.
The pantsing.
Well,
No,
as you get older, it starts becoming like a charge.
It's
like
true.
on your record.
We're too,
Yeah.
we're too PC these days.
not in this climate.
No,
Man.
this is not the time or place.
Let's switch to the topic of love.
Yes.
I mean, inspired by one Vicky.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah.
I noticed you were glowing over there.
That's the lighting that he changed.
Yeah.
I kind of want to ask more questions, Vicky. But that's just the. All right. Love at first sight. Do you guys believe in love at first sight? I met a girl the other day, and I swear we are meant to be together. What are your thoughts? Does love at first sight exist? That kind of sounds creepy.
Sounds a little rapey.
It does. You're meant to be together. I know it. All right, creepo. Let's answer your question, Vicky. Well, you know what? Let's save the lover for last.
Oh, okay.
Get-
Good.
get-
For once, I don't have to
Is
go
it because
first.
you always pick her first?
Yeah,
Great.
That's out of respect. I swear. Denny's, go ahead. Give us something.
I think it's more often or not lust at first sight. Because, I mean, you know nothing of them. I mean, unless your deep, profound love that you feel from first sight is merely physical.
Yeah, you can't get to know somebody just by
Just by
looking at
gazing
them.
upon them.
So it is lust.
It's got to be. It's lust at first sight.
Yeah, I'm with Denny on this one.
I mean, you've got experience on this, Mr. Beckett.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that's all the show you were on was basically lust at first sight.
It's the first impression rose.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I definitely agree with Denny's. It's definitely lust at first sight. I think you got to connect with someone on so many levels to have any idea in terms of like soulmate or love or anything.
What about a one-night stand? Do you think a one-night stand can turn into true love?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I totally do too.
It's
I
all
think-
a coin toss.
I think that people can meet in any kind of crazy way.
Any-
I'm a firm believer, any kind of crazy way. And so I never put up a wall, obviously, to meeting a girl in any kind of way.
Well, you're right. There's no absolute about anything. There's no right or wrong. There's a different outcome for every single situation.
Yeah.
One night
Totally.
stand, you totally have We'll get an email. Someone said, I met a woman at a bar. We banged that night. We've been married 38 years. There's
It's
a
like
different.
right out of a romance novel.
Isn't that sweet?
What do you tell your grandkids, right?
My cousin met her husband on Tinder, and they're married and are like hopelessly in love, like almost obnoxiously cute in love, and they met on Tinder.
Yeah, Tinder's all not about knocking them boots. It's you can find love
Dude,
at
you
Tinder.
can make connections. Some people are on there for the right reasons.
Yeah,
Some are not.
sure.
It's all
Every
not
now
about-
and then.
It's all not about getting a hand job in the parking lot at IHOP. Okay, Vicky, you lover, you
Now,
go.
I should have gone first because I was going to say the same thing. I believe in lust at first sight. So I would have looked like really smart if I had gone first this time. But no, I believe that. I mean, there's certain kind of connection that I think you could make with someone the very first time, but not necessarily love. But it's definitely enough of an interest to see what's going to happen.
That's all it
So,
takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've talked about soulmates before here, and I think we all agreed that you can have more than one soulmate, and it doesn't have to be about someone you're sleeping with. You have a
Just
soulmate.
be a person.
Well, Denny's is my soulmate. I mean, Denny's is like I feel like I've known Denny since I was born. I think you can have that connection with people, and it's weird you can have that connection with somebody pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
for sure.
It's a fine line of not getting too familiar too quick,
Yep.
but also, I don't know, just getting somebody.
In our day and age, what I find interesting is sometimes like you'll meet a girl, she's really pretty, maybe you have a feeling of lust at first sight, but then you exchange phone numbers and you guys text and there's like no kind of
No
banter there.
spark.
There's no like connectivity or like back and forth banter. And then other times like maybe you're a little bit more lukewarm on something or a person that you meet, and then it's like bookends or like puzzle pieces, like they just mesh, and you just kind of like you're like, wow, this girl's really fun to text with, like to go back and forth, and just in terms of like how your personalities mesh.
I think too, though, sometimes you can get carried away with just texting because
Oh,
I think, and I'm very guilty of that. I hate talking on the phone.
Yeah.
And I know that makes me sound like a prick. I've always been that way. It physically hurts my ear to do it. And I kind of feel like I'm a dick on the phone. Not on purpose, but I just feel like, I don't know. I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
So I think I'm very guilty of just being in text relationships, whether it's friendship, whether it's someone I'm dating, whether it's you guys. And I got to remind myself, you got to connect a little bit more.
Are you a big sexter?
Come on, Becky. Don't turn the tables on me. I mean, because you know the answer.
Yeah, look at him. What do you think?
I mean, I like to get a little, randy every now and then.
He's a man with thumbs.
You like the build up.
What can I say? I am what I am. Vicky, did you want to elaborate any more? You're good on that last level?
No, I'm just laughing because you're all talking about sexting and stuff. I mean, I'm old enough where you had to actually do that on the phone. I mean, you had to be creative because you had to do it live on the phone.
Well, now we can
sure.
FaceTime.
Yeah.
You couldn't just, you just couldn't like type it out.
I used to write letters and send them. That would be terrible.
Like in the mail.
Well, that's how they did. Dog, that's how they did it in the
You
1400s.
get it back and it's like, ooh la la. And you're like, oh man.
1400s. I want to touch your cans, and then you got to send it on horseback.
Your neck looks sexy tonight.
I think we have our phone call coming up. We talked about this on our After the Show podcast. This email, I'm gonna read just a little bit of it. It said, "Hi Jason, I'm a loyal listener who desperately needs your help at this time. My 16-year-old son is going through something that cannot be explained. For the past 2 nights, he has been seeing awful things written on the corners of the walls of our house, which terrify him. If he looks at them directly, he says he starts hearing a piercing noise in his ears that gets louder and louder. He is terrified of seeing when nighttime approaches. We're going to have her fake name, Maria. Let's see if I do this right. Maria, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm okay. Thank you.
So I want to say congratulations first. You are the very first caller on the Weird and Whatever podcast. Okay.
Next level. Next level.
So thank you for being
Good.
a part of our podcast. So I just read a little bit of your email. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what is going on?
Okay. The problem started about 2 days ago, actually 2 nights ago. I heard in the middle of the night really bad screams, and I went to see, and it was my youngest son. He's 16. He was basically screaming, saying that he was seeing something on the wall. And I looked, and I didn't see anything. I kept on asking, what is it that you're seeing? And he said the number 6 3 times. And it seemed to have traveled from one corner to another corner of that same room. And every time he looked at it, he claimed that there was a ringing, a bad ring in his ear, and it would get louder. And it was really terrifying. He never had that experience before, and it was really impacting him. The screams were awful. And every time I went to the area where he was seeing the stuff that I didn't see, my skin would curl. I mean, I would get this really cold feeling around myself. My son came out of his room, same thing with him. He wouldn't see anything, but wherever my son pointed to that whatever he was seeing was there, there was a cold air and something really scary about it. He could not sleep that night. He was seeing that thing everywhere. We ended up going together to my room, and for some reason he didn't see it in my room, but every time he relaxed enough to fall asleep and close his eyes, the ringing started, and to him that announced that that thing was coming, so he wouldn't close his eyes.
All right, so let me go ahead and go to our expert, Vicky here. What does this sound like to you, Vicky?
The first question I would have to ask you is, how long have you lived in the residence that you're at now?
I cannot hear.
How long have you lived in your current residence?
Oh, how long I lived there? Since 2012.
Okay, and you've had no other incidences at all prior to
Nothing.
this? Okay. I mean, there's a lot of different things that it could be from a logical standpoint. And have you heard any scratching sounds or anything like that?
I'm sorry, but I am not hearing well.
She's asking if you had any did you hear any scratching sounds? I think
No.
Okay.
No scratching sound.
Okay. Well, the first thing I would actually advise you to do is to take him to the doctor just to have a general checkup to see if there's anything, going on physically.
I cannot hear.
She can't hear you, unfortunately.
Why my mic is?
We're having technical difficulties. What Vicky is saying is go ahead and take him to a doctor just to make sure that everything's going on okay with his, with his head and everything. There's nothing physical wrong with him. Go ahead, talk, Vicky, now.
And then, if you'd like I said, our services are free. We could come in, we can assess the situation to see if we can tell if there's actually anything in your home.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Can you hear Vicky now?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear her now.
Perfect. The other thing, I mean, the one question, I don't mean any offense to this, but this is what our audience is going to want to know. Do you expect your kid at all to have any drugs or alcohol in his system?
Not at all. Really. Absolutely not at all.
Mr. Beckett, do you have anything to add to it?
No, I would say what Vicky said. Give the disclaimer: we're not doctors or anything. Just make sure that everything that you would normally check out is of course normal. And then beyond that, I mean, it's interesting. So you said that your 16-year-old son was seeing it, but your other son and you didn't see it, but you actually had like a feeling of energy in the room. Is that what
Yeah. It was like when you are scared, when you are afraid, that's exactly what we both felt. And this has gone on for 2 nights in a row.
Oh, wow.
And unfortunately, the feeling is so bad, especially obviously for my son, that we have, I have stayed awake with him until basically we are just so dead tired that we do fall asleep. But I stay with him. I talk to him. We watch TV. All the lights in the house are on because it's a terrifying scenario what he's describing. And there are some areas of the house that we actually have felt things. So he's definitely not making this up. And it's weird because yesterday, actually, it was 9 p.m., and he came out of his room and he said, "Oh, it's coming, it's coming." And he got in my room, and we started the whole process as of last night. He's looking to the corners, waiting to see this thing, and the ringing of the ear. So we have, so we start talking. We just basically keep our mind away from thinking about it. And I don't know what good it does, but at least it keeps whatever bad thing is coming sort of, away from materializing or whatever it is that it wants to do.
Gotcha.
I'd be curious, is there any place, do you have a relative or somewhere where he could spend the night someplace else? I'd be curious to see whether it's going to happen in another location.
It did, because yesterday it was almost midnight when he could not sleep, and this is the second night. I mean, I need to go to work. We actually lost one full day of work and school over not being able to sleep. Mm-hmm. So I said, no, we're going to your father's, and his father is about 10 minutes away from us. I drove him there, and I am fully thinking he's going to have a good night's sleep in that house. And lo and behold, that didn't happen. I ended up having to pick him back up at 12:30 because he heard the ringing and all that, and his father was not as accommodating as I am, keeping the lights on and TV on and talking until 4 in the morning. So I ended up having to pick him back up. So yes, the first thing that I thought is that it was specific to my house.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll talk to you off the phone too, Vicky. Maybe you can talk to them, and if we'll get the ghost team out there. The thing is, I get emails like that all the time. The same exact type of thing where their kids seeing something. I mean, this is a problem a lot of people have. What just by hearing all that, what do you think that sounds like?
I mean, it's too early for me to make any kind of guess on the situation. I always like to eliminate the logical, like any kind of physical things that have all of a sudden are started occurring with him. That needs to be ruled out. Anything psychological needs to be ruled out. We always believe that the person is experiencing these things, but we need to find out if there's another cause. And probably one of the quickest ways that I could tell you if there's another cause is to actually be within the vicinity of the house or the child. So that's just the fastest way that I can give you a real assessment.
All right. Well, we have our information, so.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely look into that. We'll try to get a.
And the best thing they can do is try, even if they have to take a melatonin or something like that. Do not become sleep deprived, because if you do have something in your home, you have to be able to sleep. So even if it's something mild like a melatonin, that's not, that's all natural. Please make sure that they get sleep.
Is it possible ghosts could move your sleeping pills if you were really struggling? They could, right?
Oh yeah, yep. But that would be my advice. You can't be sleep deprived in a situation like this.
Because you'll probably start hallucinating after
a day or two. Just lowers your energy, and I know
Makes
when
you
I
more
don't
susceptible.
Well, when I don't sleep, I get real funky with my thinking, man. The bystander effect. The bystander effect. Why do groups stand by sometimes when something terrible is going on and nobody does something? It's like a phenomenon. There was this one story where this one woman was getting beaten up on the side of the street, and there's like 10 people around, and nobody's doing anything about that. And there really is a phenomenon. Dennis can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was stumbling through some different articles on psychology. I just find them very interesting. And the bystander effect, and I'll read you right here because it explains it very well. If a group of people witness an emergency, they are less likely to help, as they will all wait for someone else to act first. This was first drawn to attention after the death of a woman, I won't say her name, who was murdered in New York streets while 38 neighbors listened to her scream for half an hour and no one called the police. Studies have shown that in bigger groups, the less likely people are to help. This effect is found in children as young as 5.
I guess people just they think someone else is gonna do something.
Yep.
See, I'm one of those annoying neighbors. I would have been the first one on the phone with 911 saying, I don't know what's going on, but these streams are coming, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like an annoying neighbor. So I would have.
So if I hear a scream, I wait. And if I hear it again, I'll wait just a little longer. And if I hear it like a third time where I'm like,
so
that's
three's
when
the magic number.
Yeah, it's almost like ingrained.
So 3 is.
Well, because I'm like,
so
somebody
you only
might
let-
be
you,
there and
You only
know
let them
them.
get stabbed twice. That's nice.
Jeez.
Well, here's the problem. We live on a street where there's a school. So, I mean, after school, kids are screaming while they run down the sidewalk. So it's hard to differentiate when it's the kids out or if it's a person actually in distress.
Are you the kind of guy that gets involved, Beckett?
Yes, I think I am the kind of guy that gets involved because it is a lot of this thing. Like someone thinks someone else is going to do it, and you got to take initiative. Like I always kind of, I'm not saying like I quick to jump on 911 kind of person, but I'm quick to like walk outside and just like poke my head across the hedge and see what's going on type person.
Well, we lived at a place a few years back where there was a woman living at the apartment complex,
yeah.
and this was like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. The maintenance guy had a key to her place and kidnapped her, and she escaped in the parking lot, and he still attacked her with, I believe, either like a knife or some kind of weapon. This is in the parking lot, not that far from anybody, and no one did anything.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know if they didn't hear anything, but just the fact that that could even go on in a parking lot in an apartment complex where we lived at, it just, there's so many people around
There's so many
constantly.
units.
Yeah.
So for that to even happen is insane to me.
And that said, but I avoid confrontation. That's just like one of my personality traits. So if there's a guy and his girlfriend yelling at each other, and I don't think he's, hitting at her, then I try not to like
Involve yourself.
involve myself. I think there's another thing at play where people make decisions based on self-preservation. And unfortunately, even with that school shooting, like there was the guy that was on campus that was armed that didn't go in. And, people never know how they're going to act in a situation until that situation unfortunately happens. And some people are surprised that they run towards it, and some people are maybe surprised that they freeze. So I think there's all kinds of things in play.
Well, I think people are afraid to get involved. I think people are just some people.
It's 'cause
I mean,
they're-
I saw my neighbor beating the crap out of his wife, and I immediately picked up the phone. I said, he's in the yard. He's beating the crap out of her. You need to come now. I didn't even think twice.
We have some laws on that. And I don't know if it's necessarily national, but I'm pretty sure it's definitely in the state of Florida, that Good Samaritan Act. Like you can't, like if you see someone in a car accident, you can't not help or
yeah.
call first responder.
I couldn't imagine somebody looking the other way. If you see like what you saw a man
Oh,
beating up a woman.
that you have to.
If you don't call, you are
Complicit.
You're just you are.
I'm saying when it's like 11:30 a.m. and you're laying there and you hear a noise and you wake up and then you listen.
AM or PM?
Like AM.
Okay.
Yeah, or the late one.
PM.
PM. Damn. Dude, I did that with our Brightline ticket, man. I'm losing my mind.
You are, dude.
Brightline's awesome, isn't it?
I was very impressed.
It's great.
I don't want to get too much into it, but I was very impressed.
Yeah, finish your
great.
story.
I forgot what I was talking
Oh
about.
man.
I forgot where we were going with this.
Daddy.
We're getting too late in the PM right now.
Yeah, you're looking
I
tired.
totally
over it.
forgot.
Oh man.
We need to just do military time for Denny's.
Well, what was he talking about? I forget too.
So he's saying if it's 11:30 p.m.
Oh,
like
yeah.
He was talking about the time, right?
Yeah,
the time
if you
of
hear
the
something
incident.
at 11:30
Oh, yeah,
p.m.
yeah. You sit up and you wait. And then if you hear it again, then you're like, all right, this might be something. And you wait for that last one.
No, I agree. I think the third time you want to make sure because
Well,
it could be anything.
It could be anything.
And that's no way to live. Every time you hear a
Well, then you're that neighbor that's narking on anything that's going on.
Did you guys hear about Barbara?
Little snitch.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy.
Did y'all hear about Barbara Streisand?
Cloning the dog.
She cloned her dogs.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, that annoys me because I'm such an advocate. I bought my dogs like 12 years ago, and I was ignorant to what's going on in puppy mills back then. I was like fresh out of college, and I just wasn't aware of it. But there's so many animals. Like I've seen these things. How many animals are killed at like Miami-Dade animal shelter, and the fact that people like are paying. I'm sure
Money for
the
clones.
technology's been there for a little bit now, but it's still really expensive to do.
Totally.
And the fact that people are doing that when animals are being euthanized all the time. It just, to me, it just not.
Not resourceful.
She said that the personality traits are sort of the same.
Yeah, that's even weirder.
It's pretty weird, man.
Didn't we have a conversation or at least one of my friends, where say they had like a boxer and they're really close with it. When they get another dog, they're less keen to get another boxer. Like they'll maybe get a golden because like they don't want to have that mixing.
The assimilation to the old memories.
Yeah.
Vicky, are you against what
Yeah, it's
what Babs
ridiculous.
did?
That's exactly what Ryan said. There's way too many animals that need homes, and there's some great dogs out there that are being killed. There's no reason to clone a dog.
Such a Hollywood thing to do, isn't it?
That's annoying.
It's so annoying. I thought the same thing too.
Because it's super expensive and exclusive. They should clone new animals. Let's make some new ones.
I have clients that clone horses.
And what's the purpose of that?
Well, it's kind of like in horse racing, it has to be live traditional breeding with a witness, and like it's got to be signed off on, and it's like the horse stock, and you can buy a sperm from a male stud for like $100,000 for it, and you don't even get a guarantee it works per se, but you had to pay that if it's like secretariat stock. But in the show jumping world, it doesn't have to be a live witnessing of an actual insemination, so to speak.
What a weird job to have, though, right?
Right? Yeah, exactly. But with show jumping, like say you have this amazing horse that was like Olympic level jumper, well then that's like a business kind of thing.
And they clone that.
They clone that, yeah.
And make another one of those horses.
Yeah.
And you're cool with that?
No.
Okay.
No, because I think it kind of takes it out of it.
I'm with you.
I'm more err on the side of, I think it's cheating. I think I err more on the side of like how the thoroughbreds and racing handle it in terms of the breeding.
I mean, I'm completely with you. I think when we start cloning stuff, there's always the argument, well, we have the ability to clone, so maybe we are supposed to clone. To me, just my gut tells me something's off with cloning.
Yeah, we have the ability to kill and do drugs too. I don't know that we should. You know what I mean? Like that
Totally.
shouldn't be our test.
excuse.
Cloning gets weird because if you subscribe that people have souls, you would imagine that a clone probably would not possess one, right? What are your thoughts?
I think they possess one. I just think that there's too much manipulation. It takes yeah. I don't know. I think you still got to do it the old-fashioned way. Although I guess maybe I get in some gray area. Like I think that, medicine gets to a point where you can prevent someone from having some kind of mental handicap or physical deformity, like, and go something like that. Like I can get on board with that. But when you start,
Oh, totally. Well, they grow ears on rats.
no, that's cool.
I think that's all. I'm all for that.
Yeah,
Poor rats, though. Rats and mice, they have gone through so much shit.
yeah.
Let's try it on the
Yeah.
mice. Oh, screw the mice. Who gives a
And-
shit about that?
Almost everyone's cool with it too. Like,
Yeah.
they're not cool, but they're like the coolest with that one.
Do you think they know, as a mouse community, like a mice community, they know that they're completely screwed? That the word's gotten out.
They're like, what do we want? Change.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Exactly.
I don't know, man.
Did their whole little animal communication ways of living, did they? I don't know.
Well, I mean, would you be bummed out if you were a rat just chilling and you had an ear on your back, like
Yeah.
a giant ass ear?
It'd be terrible.
Too bad we can't do experiments on roaches.
They're the other ones that people they have zero
I mean,
tolerance.
you can catch almost no flack for saying anything about roaches.
You're right. I think even PETA is like, nah, roaches.
For real.
What kind of roaches?
Yeah. I got some round table questions. Just people asking us what you guys think. Although this one's mine. Do you believe in dinosaurs, Vicky? You believe they?
I think there's enough evidence that they existed.
Okay, so you believe in animals having spirits, correct?
Correct.
Are there dinosaur spirits roaming the earth?
In theory, I suppose there could be.
It sounds ridiculous, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, you don't really think about it, but in theory.
They would exist if dogs and cats and
Because
mice.
I've come across ghost cats before.
There you go.
I haven't come across a ghost T-Rex, but maybe I just wasn't in the right area. I
But
don't
in
know.
theory, that should work, right?
In theory, it should work.
And in theory, a caveman spirit should be roaming.
But that's
Yeah.
only if it didn't pass, right?
No, they can come back in visitation.
You just got Vickied.
Yeah, you would wonder. You'd think there'd be a lot more picking, because I mean, if anything's wandering, there would be. You would actually think that if everybody died and was wandering and they came back, willy nilly as they wanted to, that there would be massive amounts of ghosts like on top of each other all
There
over
are.
us.
Ghosts on ghosts.
Just like we're constantly.
There are.
So,
It's
okay.
like a mosh
There's
pit.
more spirits in this room right now than there are people.
And you
living
can
people.
see that.
So how can you like? What about
No,
then?
but thank goodness that most of us don't have the ability to see them. But I guarantee you, if you had someone who was completely open, like I choose not to see in order to get through everyday life. I turn on, so to speak, when it's time for me to do a reading. Otherwise, I'm turned off. I don't, because I'd be going crazy walking down the street and seeing all these spirits. But trust me, there are more spirits in this room right now than there are living people.
Just so you know, if I go before you, I'm gonna haunt your ass a lot. No, it's gonna be like Swayze and Ghost.
You know, it's funny, somebody just said that to me today.
You're
They
gonna know
said,
it's
I'm
me.
coming back to talk to you for sure.
Well, that's the
Oh.
only way you can communicate with anyone is go to Vicky.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Denny's isn't gonna listen to you.
No, I would love a ghost just to kick it though.
yeah, I would love to be able to try to communicate with the spirit world. I'd love to be able to do that.
It's. I mean, I was actually someone's birthday present.
Oh, that's
this
cool.
past weekend. So they bought it for another person. I was their present.
Oh,
and
very cool.
Like, I mean, several people came through. It was an in-person reading, and several people came through. And it's always. And remember, I was talking before the show how I was really down or whatever, and then it was actually that night was one of the turning points. Is going to that place and doing that reading and having all of those spirits around me. It's like they gave me part of my life back, and they gave me my joy back, and they took away that depression.
That's
They
That's
were
awesome.
thanking me.
that's a Rocky story
Oh.
right there. That's a great tale. I love it.
Wine and spirits.
Let me check our Insta chat real quick. We want to know more about Vicky's new lover. I'm just kidding.
It's an old one.
It's an old one.
It's an old one renewed.
I know that move. I think we all know that tale, right, Mr. Beckett?
Yeah.
Denny's?
Rarely people don't dip their toe back in the pool of a past relationship. You know?
Producer Angelica, yeah? Yeah, thumbs up. I think we've
Yeah,
all
I mean everybody. I think it's just the human condition. You got to go through it to know it.
unanswered questions, especially if you have broken up with somebody where it wasn't the worst breakup. I'm not saying it was a great breakup, but if there's still some unanswered questions, I'm all for
And sometimes people break up because of situations going on in their lives, not necessarily, they just couldn't make it work because of two different schedules. And nothing against the character of each person. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's many variables.
I don't know if I've had any like extreme throwbacks. Like I know that I've broken up and hooked up a couple months later and stuff like that. I don't know that I've.
You never
like,
gone like a couple years.
I don't think I've ever gone a couple years.
I have.
Maybe I'm good luck Chuck because I think girls after I date they get married to someone else.
If ghosts can have sex, which they can, right? The succubus and the incubus and all that.
I think they sedate
If you're talking
you
about
and
that,
then-
that's more demonic. If you're talking about incubus and succubus, those are demonic entities.
So, but technically they can't have sex, though, correct?
Correct. There's been reports of it.
Okay.
Anubis don't be
so an
jumping on
angel,
you.
so an angel can't have sex.
Well,
I would
angel-
imagine they're androgynous, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't
Want
I think
to.
They'd want.
Yeah, they'd be like, why would I do that?
Why would I want to be an angel?
Okay, well, so
Maybe they get some high flying around.
if ghosts can have sex, can they also masturbate?
I mean, as long as they
That's-
close the door,
Well,
right?
that's the
I
case.
started to question this whole heaven thing.
I mean, what's the rules on that? Because people do. The one question I
Right.
get a lot is, if I have ghosts in my place, can they watch me poop? Can they watch me have sex? All that stuff. And they also want to know these questions: can ghosts masturbate?
They could. I mean, take a situation where, say, when that person was living, that was their favorite hobby.
Like a Louis C.K.
So it might be something that they do in the afterlife.
Like, that's what I mean. I mean, I'm not even trying to be
Right.
funny there. Someone like who's known for that. Let's say he passed on.
Right.
That would make sense for him to do something like that
Right.
in the ghost world.
He's like a creepy voyeur.
Yeah. So I guess that could happen with a
Yeah,
ghost.
because you retain your personality on the other side. So if that's your thing, then it's going to be your thing on the other side.
And do you think in that form you probably would lead to going down that perversion? Like
If
for-
that was like
yeah,
a
like-
majority of what you were into.
well, someone like a Louis C.K. If he crossed or he died and he did his whole thing, that part of him, would that be more likely to be what would he would show?
Yeah, if he were, let me just put a disclaimer on this, that's more likely to happen if he were an earthbound spirit, not one who's crossed. Because once we cross, we have to work on our vices and things that we should have learned here. So if that's his vice and that's something he needs to work on, he's not going to be allowed to come back, and I was going to use a really bad pun, and be able to do it because he has to atone for that on the other side. Now, if he was an earthbound spirit, totally different animal.
Gotcha.
So do we think that spirits have relationships with each other, like in the afterlife?
That's a great question.
Oh yeah, do
Could-
they
yeah.
date?
I've been shown that they do. In this one particular reading, this father was basically babysitting his son because his son had been a molester. And the son did not learn his lesson, and he was stuck at a certain level, and that father was basically stuck babysitting him until he learned his lesson and could move on to the next level.
So he was the molester still trying to do that when he was stuck?
He wasn't. He went to the other side. He didn't get stuck here, but he didn't learn what he needed to. He wasn't owning up to what he did here in life, and until he owned up to it, he couldn't go through to the next phase. And for whatever reason, I was shown that the father was still with him, and watching over him and guiding him to try to get him to make those realizations to get to the next level.
Why is it that someone would not want to go to that next level? Why would the molester not want to go and fix himself?
Well, we retain, again, a lot of our characteristics that we had here on Earth. So he wasn't owning up to what he did when he was here on Earth. So it's not going to be instamatic where on the other side he's like, oh, I was guilty.
When you say own up, the way I look at it, I picture it in my head. I picture his father and him walking down a hallway, and there's someone there saying, you got to own up to what you did. We got a book here. That's what it's like,
Right.
almost like a story's being told. Is that how it is?
Well, I mean, I was shown him in a state where he was stuck at that personal development point where it was stunted, basically, and then somebody was watching him. So I wasn't shown the exact process, but I know for the longest time in the reading, he would not even look up at me. And then finally, he looked up, and I could see his eyes. And one of the reasons he didn't look up at me is because his eyes were what made me identify him positively to the person I was reading for. But it's just, we have work to do. If we don't learn what we're supposed to here, we are going to continue that work on the other side. That's just the way it is. Now, there's people that don't have a whole lot of work, and they go to the other side, they check in, they're like, okay, you're good, and they come back to watch over their loved ones. And then they go back when it's time and they do other work.
Man, who knew Rihanna was right?
Right.
I don't get that joke.
Doesn't he have a song, Work, 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 Work?
Oh,
It just seems like a lot of work.
You got that joke?
I was just
Give it.
You were just-
Will you just give us?
Disagree
Nobody got
with
that joke? It was like a #1 song.
Becky gave you a sympathy.
He gave me a
laugh.
sympathy laugh over here.
I love how you couldn't
I
explain
didn't
it.
even know.
Did you get the joke, Vicky?
No, I was giving him a sympathy.
Get out of here.
Now I do. Now I got the song stuck in my head.
Kind of lost the room, Denny.
Yeah, it got heavy.
It got real heavy. I love it, though. I like when it gets a little heavy around these parts. I want to do a quick scary movie quote game. Okay? You should. These are all.
Yeah, but I'm not a quick thinker anymore.
So you're gonna say a movie quote, and we have to guess what movie that is.
Oh, we have to come up with it.
You got.
ourselves.
No, I'm going to say the quote, and you guys
Okay,
buzz in
guess
with
it.
your name. These are pretty easy, iconic lines. Most of them.
So buzz in when we know it.
Yes. I see dead people.
Denny's, Sixth Sense.
Okay, see, that's all it is. Where were you, Becky? You know that movie.
I was gonna buzz.
Okay. Stay on the road. Be clear of the moon. Beware of the moon, lads.
Denny's, is that Leprechaun?
No.
Leprechaun in the Hood?
I would have guessed that one too.
Yeah. Oh, just because you added like an
Yeah,
accent
see?
to the
It
end
was
of it.
supposed to be British. My bad. American Werewolf in London.
I don't know if I've seen that.
What? You guys
Oh.
have to see American Werewolf in London. If you guys are listening out there, please. I believe it's on Netflix right now.
Do we believe in werewolves?
I have a tough time believing in werewolves, but
Yeah.
I'm open to anything. But I believe in so much other stuff that I get ridiculed for. I don't know if I can take werewolf. I don't know if
Werewolf gets a lot of heat.
I don't know if I can take on that fight, Beckett.
Okay.
But I'm fascinated by it. I think it's great. Yeah, American Werewolf in London. I believe it was made like in 1980 or 81.
Yeah.
Pretty horrifying movie. If you
Yeah.
are looking for a scary WTF kind of movie, it is that.
And the werewolf transformation is cool.
Yeah.
Are there
it
any
is.
really scary movies out or coming out soon in the movie theaters?
I'm not. I don't know. To me, a lot of the ghost ones that are coming are kind of the same. I'd like a little mix-up.
Because I'll be first to admit, and this is probably no surprise, bitch boy Beckett doesn't like scary movies. But I propose that if there is a good blockbuster, we make an event out of it and we all go see it together. That'd be fun.
I'm totally down.
Okay.
I will sacrifice my nature of not going. I'll actually go with you guys for sake of the show.
So I think you do have a homework assignment. I would love for you, if you could, watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Okay.
at midnight
Okay.
by yourself.
But what?
Yeah, no girls.
Watch The
I
Exorcist.
thought we were
that one's
friends.
scary.
I want to start him off easy.
All right.
Because Exorcist, I don't think Bitch Boy Beckett could handle
That
I
that.
one's
saw the
scary,
original
man.
Exorcist. That disturbed me a little.
Yeah,
bit.
that's the-
anytime
that
you
was-
mix like religion into like
Right.
that stuff. Like it's just a little. It's like way too disturbing
I
for me.
think Leatherface is horrifying.
He is.
From the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Do you know what he looks like with the chainsaw?
Mm-mm.
He
He
uses
has-
human flesh.
To make a mask.
No, that's weird.
Oh man,
Oh,
and you've
geez.
seen it before, right, Vicky?
Oh
You've s-
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's based on a real person, just one
Ed,
of
Well, it was
a
based
little
on-
bit like the face.
Ed
Yeah.
Gein,
Where you use the skin.
right? Ed Gein.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch.
Was
like
it Dennis Hopper in that movie?
I can't remember.
He was in the second one, I think.
I'd rather watch like a McConaughey rom-com or something.
Now,
Failure to launch.
Yeah, a great movie.
we gotta toughen you up a little bit.
That's got Sarah Jessica Parker as well.
All right, how about this one? You've got the body. I've got the brains.
Denny's, is that
I think Vicky.
Yeah, but I didn't say my name. I violated.
no, it's cool. Here, go ahead.
What do you got, Denny's?
I was to say, is that Nightmare on Elm Street?
Eh.
You've got the
Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
I don't know. Was it a Frankenstein?
Jeez.
I didn't know we had to get that specific.
You definitely do.
All right. I didn't know we were going sequels.
All right. You all should get this one. The first line's a different person. Do you go out with friends? And here comes the other line. A boy's best friend is his mother.
Vicky Psycho.
Boom!
It's good.
Where were you at, Denny's? All right, and last one. What's your favorite scary movie?
Denny's, Scream.
Beckett. Have you seen Scream?
I have his screen.
Dude, Scream's awesome.
Opening
I
of
love Scream.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
The first one was amazing.
First one, they start getting weak.
Oh,
When-
terrible. Opening scene of Scream is awesome.
Let me ask you a question. Do you guys think that movies have any complicity
Oh,
into
boy.
what's going on in society now? Because I don't really. I mean, I can
We're
understand.
getting deep.
You know, like that was one of the. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to open up a can of worms per se, but
No,
like
we can give our opinion on that. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
absolutely. Vicky, you want to go first or Denny's? It doesn't matter.
Well, it may not be a popular opinion, but no.
yeah.
I don't think that you can blame your behavior on a book or a movie or a video game. I think you are responsible. If you're so simple-minded that you can't come up with your own ideas and you have to copy things, I still don't think it's the media's fault that you choose to copy. It's on you. It's your responsibility.
I think people have indulged in violence and fiction since the beginning of time, and I feel like for generations upon generations, we've made it to where we are now. We try to learn from what to do and what not to do, but I don't think, any of that has influence on whether a person is more violent or not.
Yeah, makes sense. I would say that it's hard to make a 100% yes or no answer to a lot of these
Totally.
questions, and I think that the real question is how much does it play? You can make a case that it plays very little, but sometimes when you have little kids, when their neurological pathways are being established and they're in Call of Duty type games or in those kind of movies and they're mowing people down, that maybe there is a normalization of these things, and to most kids it's fine, but there's always those kids there's that critical mass where kind of it's
There's
what
totally in any situation there
But
could
I-
be a percentage.
but in the same breath I totally agree with Denny's. There's been Alfred Hitchcock movies, there's been
stories, plays.
books about plays,
Dramas.
Shakespeare, like
Since man could write, it's been
100%.
storytelling.
100%.
So I agree with everything you all are saying. The one thing I would add on to that is I don't think it's the movies. I don't think it's the media. I want to go into social media for a second. I do think social media is to blame on some of the stuff, just some of the atmosphere that things that it's creating. People think, oh, it just happened on Twitter or just happened on Facebook. It's not that big of a deal. And I think we're at a point now where everything is on social media. Everyone's got all this power on their phone, and you can shame somebody, you can embarrass somebody, you can murder somebody on social media, and that instantly gets feedback, and that's real life stuff.
Right.
And I think that stuff can possibly have a bit of a bit of a role on some of the stuff, just because you can ruin people's lives, you can embarrass, you can shame. I mean, people.
Mass humiliation's powerful.
Mass humiliation is powerful, and I think some of the weird stuff we see is a lot to do with that. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying I am right on that, but I just know things have gotten different from when it was 15 years ago. Everybody is able to go live with whatever they want. Someone just got murdered on Facebook again. I mean, that's terrible. If you're that person's family, it's on the internet now. We didn't have those capabilities. If you did that, you had to do it in front of a news broadcast when it was live on TV, or you had to film it and then upload it and do all kinds of stuff. Now everybody's connected. There's some great things that come with that.
Yeah.
There's some scary shit that comes with that too. It's so powerful, social media, and we haven't even begun to catch up with what it's doing, in my opinion.
Right.
Even with just the laws on it.
Yep.
You know what's weird about social media is that when you have kids, you raise them and you try to teach them manners and stuff to make their lives easier and to make them copacetic with everybody they work and live with. But then on social media, which is given to people at a very young age, you're almost rewarded for the lack of manners. If you can make somebody laugh about, bash somebody and make them laugh, you get a lot of positive feedback from that immediately. So it's kind of weird from a young age. You were taught that you get great reward for not having manners and kind of being a jerk.
I know 45-year-olds that cannot handle social media, and then you're expecting kids that are 11 to know what the hell to do? Are you shitting me?
Right.
I mean, it's insane what's going on with social
And
media.
it's given to everybody.
I don't want to sound like an old fogey. I think there's a lot of great things with social media, like everything. With something so powerful, there's going to be the yin and the yang. I mean, there's going to be
Absolutely.
some shit that goes down. And to answer your question, that's my answer.
Yep.
Denny's, I don't think you have your 30-second story, do you, Mr. Beckett?
No, I don't.
I knew it. I knew you did it. So Mr. Denny's is going to tell his 30-second scary story.
That is right. Let's see here.
Prepared?
Are you guys prepared?
Yes, we are.
All right, very cool.
Give it to us. We're ready to be scared.
It had been a year since Alfred had heard the rustling of his late wife, Rebecca. I must be dreaming, he thought to himself. But the dream was so vivid, he could see her tidying up before going downstairs and continuing her typical morning routine. She drank coffee, made breakfast, just as he had always remembered. Just then, he realized he was starting to wake up. He wanted to hold on to this. This was his last memory of her. He never, ever wanted to wake up. Beep, beep. The alarm clock is struck almost immediately and shuts off. The morning light beams in through the window and reflects on Alfred's face. Rebecca sits up and sadly looks at the photo beside of her late husband. I dreamt about you last night, Alfred. I miss you terribly. How is it?
Hey, I like it.
It's good.
That was great.
Yeah, the twist.
I think it was great.
Was it scary?
You did good
I
job,
went more for
Denny.
the twist.
Everybody say good job.
Good job,
Denny.
Denny.
I love it.
My nickname amongst my friends is Dark Horse, so I'm going to come with a good one next.
Dark Horse?
Dark
Why is
Horse.
that?
Because everyone always underestimates what I'm going to come through with.
What are you talking about?
And then I always come back out at the end strong.
All right. All right. I like it.
Not to raise the bar too much, but next week will be good, I promise.
Okay,
I'm
good. Yeah,
excited.
you are. You got to do yours next week.
Yeah.
Denny's has a little bit of a game. He tried to explain it to me earlier today, and I didn't understand it. So you got the floor. This is a brand new feature, the Denny's WTF game.
So I was trying to think of a fun game we could all play here. And you know how superheroes always have a story on how they became a superhero. Peter Parker was out there at the science lab, the spider, the one that the radioactive spider they're working on bites him and he develops these powers. You got the Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner, lab explodes. You got Iron Man. They all got a story.
Yeah.
So I was going to think if a game, if I proposed a scenario to you, could you come up with what your hero power would be? Like, so you know how he got bit by the radioactive spider, he develops spider senses and stuff.
Okay, so let me see how this game goes. You play it with Beckett first.
All right, Beckett.
Do you have the cricket or the bomb sound effect ready to go? You have to give yourself your own bad sound effect if it doesn't work. Man.
All right, so I'm going to propose to you a scenario, and then based on this, you would just, what kind of character or what superhero would you become from this?
Okay.
All right, you are peacefully swimming on a beach in Hawaii, and out of nowhere, a dormant volcano erupts. The fiery magma splashes into the ocean, and you get fused between the magma and water and sink to the bottom. Then you break out. What superhero are you?
I'm the liquid molten T2.
Cool. Like, what's your power? Like, what do you gain from that?
So you remember in Terminator 2, the guy that the Terminator? Where
Yeah, T2, T1.
He could take T1000. He could take bullets. He could slip into his Mercury and go down the drain and come into it, make swords out of his arms, all that stuff.
Yeah, look at that. He could be,
I can shapeshift into the cop. I can go into whatever form I want.
and then he can harden into magma if anyone's shooting at
That's
him.
probably
Vicky, what are your thoughts
Turns
on this
into
game?
obsidian.
It's smash or trash. You get the final vote on this game.
What else can you come up with that scenario? That's the best
No,
thing.
That was awesome. I thought it was a great superhero.
I'm not blaming you, Beckett. This all falls on Denny's shoulders. You're just a victim in all this.
It's better than peeing roaches.
Hey, we all have our swings and misses. Vicky, trash or smash?
Well, as a teacher, I'd like to see how the concept matched with what you said the power was. So I'd have to go and review this audio in order to see if there's enough points to lead to those powers that he talked about.
Yeah, we're moving on.
That's a fun game. Kids play it
I
at
call
home.
him Magma Man.
I love it. All right,
Magma Man, I love it.
let's do a couple would you rathers. Would you rather have 30 active buttholes all over your body? Or
We got our first caller and sound effects. I love it.
We're really-
Just stepping it
we're
up.
really stepping it up. And it's such classy sound effects too. Okay, would you rather have 30 active buttholes all over your body? So that means you'd have to take care of it. Just like if you go to the bathroom one time, you'd probably have to go to the bathroom pretty quick after, and another hole. Or never stop sneezing and yawning while you're awake.
No, it's easy.
Is it?
Yes. Sneezing feels like an orgasm, and
What?
buttholes are gross.
Okay, so the whole time you'd be sneezing, yawning, the entire time. You never stop sneezing ever. You're having sex. You're at work. You never stop.
So
ever.
where are the buttholes? Are they all in your shorts?
It's neck below.
Oh no, I'm going with sneezing 100%.
You don't want any more anuses?
I mean, Vicky, imagine you trying to teach a class sneezing and yawning constantly. You could wear a turtleneck with the buttholes.
Imagine teaching with a bunch of buttholes all over me.
You could totally,
Really?
you could totally wear a turtleneck.
I'm more concerned about the mind that came up with this.
You're-
I mean, literally, how do you get the inspiration for these?
I never thought you'd make a case for assholes, dude.
Denny's, what do you think? I mean, yawning. So if you're not sneezing, you're yawning.
Sneezing is the closest thing to an orgasm because all your muscles are contracting and releasing at the same time.
I don't like sneezing.
I mean, okay, but these are the kind of sneezes that
I see what
every
you're
time
saying, though.
there's snot everywhere. I mean, to the point where
He's always adding
Snot is
stuff.
less gross than a booty.
Denny's, what are your thoughts?
It's tough, man.
Would you rather have snot get on you or poop get on you?
Well, here's the thing. I would have to take the butthole because of my career. I wouldn't be on the air if I was sneezing and yawning the whole time. I gotta go butthole.
Yeah, I'd probably just do it, and I'd get into a routine.
So what are you going with?
Probably the buttholes all over.
Oh wow, we're split. We are split.
You
on
guys
that.
are gross.
We're
It's terrible.
gross.
I don't like it, either one of them.
Dog, it's survival. I gotta survive. All right.
There's a cough button here on this mics.
There is a cough button and a sneeze button. That's what you're supposed to hit, but I never do. I always forget we have that. You had a Bigfoot theory, Denny's?
Yeah, so bear with me here. So I was doing some research. I found this cool paper about people like guessing, why some places have more Bigfoot sightings than others. And I thought about this old Robert Downey Jr. movie that I saw. Have you ever seen it? Where he is a wolf man. He has that disease. Let's see, I'm pulling it up right here. Hypertrichosis. Have you heard of this? You guys heard of hypertrichosis?
The Wolfman disease.
Yeah, so it's a lot of the people would go into the circus industry because it was a profession that they could use this for. And it's unfortunate if you get the full blown one, you get body hair all over your entire body.
Even if you shave it, even if you wax, you
It
do
doesn't
all that,
matter.
it comes back.
It comes
back with fury.
It's some sort of over increased hormone of yours that produces more body hair. You can get it in lower doses. Some people have it in extreme.
This
So
makes the
anyway,
Wolfman series theory make more sense.
Well, but the Wolfman you're talking about is the
he changes at the full
changes. He's
moon.
murdering, eating people. I mean, they're probably heartbroken when people go up and call the wolf.
Well, so bear with this theory. Back in the day, a lot of people would not be accepting if anyone was any different from the normality, and often, and sadly, a lot of people would abandon kids and such. And you wonder if they would abandon them in the woods, and these people would grow up and they have that hypertrichosis. And that could be the Bigfoot that people have seen, a humanoid creature covered head to toe in body. There's a lot of places where people would get, I found an article where they excommunicated one of the guys from their village, and he had to live out in the hills, and the kids would tell stories about the hairy guy in the woods.
No, that's that's an interesting theory for sure.
And because it's so many generations, that's why they never have come into society, because they're so used to being isolated. They never thought about
They
introducing
live
themselves.
a recluse life because they've been shunned from society, so they just stay out there. And of course, occasionally they'll be spotted, and they're humanoid. And
I could say I've never heard that theory before, and I like it.
I thought that was. I just think about it. It could be.
Beckett, the skeptic. What's so wrong about Denny's theory on that?
I mean, I can see how you get to the theory. I'm not saying it's not true.
Yeah, I don't agree
It's
with you.
far-fetched. I get it.
I totally don't think it's I mean, I don't think that's what's going on.
You don't
but
think
I'm not,
the Native Americans or the indigenous people in whatever country find those kind of people?
Well, I mean that's always so. My whole debate with the Bigfoot stuff. The reason why we can't find any species of the Bigfoot or the Sasquatch is because their survival skills are better than man. Human, their burials are different. They have a way of burying their deceased without us really kind of knowing how they do that. Those are my theories, and there's also the theory that there's parts, of the earth where we've not been. Man just has not really been there, and that's where they could also be residing.
Or what if they're cave dwellers and they only come out occasionally?
There's also theories with the Florida skunk ape that the Florida skunk ape is part aquatic, and that's why you can't find it. So when it's running on land, it just dips right out into the water and then goes underneath. But there's also the theory too that UFOs and aliens are submerged in water, and that's when they come out at nighttime. That's a growing movement right there, or aliens and UFOs from the ocean.
Well, maybe you're right the whole time and they're extinct.
What's that?
Maybe all these sightings that have gone on, it was an endangered animal, the Bigfoot.
Yes.
And maybe now they've just died off. Maybe you guys are both right. Maybe it was this species that eventually just died off.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't think the Bigfoot species has died off completely.
No?
No way. No, absolutely not. No. And I also believe that we have had aliens here on Earth, but hey, tomato, tomato.
Right.
Do you guys have any closing thoughts? Anybody has anything to plug?
No, I do want to give a shout out to one of our very loyal fans who didn't even realize that he had met me in person because he's a friend of a friend. But I want to give a shout out to Nacho, who has all of our shows saved on his phone. When he found out, he was at someone's house and he found out that was Vicky. That's the Vicky from the Weird and Whatever. He pulls out his phone and showed that he had all the episodes on his phone, so I wanted to give him a shout out.
Oh, that's
What's
cool.
up, Nacho?
Very Nacho, yeah. Yeah, and I do like the idea of a field trip, and I do apologize. I know it sounds like a broken record. We do this podcast when we can, if the schedule just doesn't work out, it's really out of our control. And I know it's frustrating for our audience. We're going to try to be as consistent as we can. Next Wednesday looks good
Yep.
for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody, Angelica, we're all good for next Wednesday. We have a streak going, everybody.
Yeah.
That's
2 weeks.
awesome. And you guys, anything to add?
No, just happy to be here.
Check out our Instagram. What's the address for that?
It's just weird and whatever.
Weird and whatever. Okay, guys, we love you all, and Bigfoot is real.
What was that? What? What's that sound? It's aliens and they're living in your town. They have arrived.